Hi, and welcome to Thete Gaming. I'm going to be discussing, quite briefly, I hope, GW's announcement on range rotation for 40k. So at the weekend, a post appeared on Warhammer Community telling us that a load of old models, I say a load, it's a relatively limited number of old models, were going to be available for a short while, and I mean a short while, and then no longer, or at least not for a while. And it includes Space Marines characters and some shoulder pads. Now, the rationale is that the range is too large to cope and they're going to be rotating certain models in and out of production. Now, the problem here for customers is obvious. For example, I recently got myself a Blood Angels army. 3 of the models being removed and 1 other kit are Blood Angels. It's fine for me. I've got what I wanted. But if I had made the decision to get Blood Angels in even just 2 weeks' time, I'd miss out. So someone who isn't currently planning on building an affected force, or someone who joins the hobby roundabout now, is going to lose out. They're going to try and get a model. Where'd you get this model from? I can't find it. Now, I do have some sympathy for the realities of Games Workshop's production. I'm not saying it's something they're doing out of spite, especially during the pandemic. Like at any one time, like many workplaces, it's likely they've got an absentee rate higher than before the pandemic. In fact, I've noticed evidence of this. Like before the pandemic, things were often out of stock on the web store. It's like, oh, it's not in. But you have the button on there, click on it and we'll email you when it's back in. And a week or 2 later, you'd get the email saying you can now, you can get it now. And I'm fine with that. I've never needed a model so urgently I can't wait a couple of weeks. But now it takes way longer on average. Sometimes it's relatively quick and sometimes, like right now, I'm waiting for like 3 models, 3 kits to come back. And I've been waiting for weeks. There have been some models where I've waited for over 2 months. This will surely be pandemic-related staffing problems. So I can understand the situation, although this apparently already happens with their Lord of the Rings range anyway. But just because I appreciate that they're facing problems and have to do something, that doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're handling this in the best way possible. For example, I would have a few major queries. The first is for the details of this rotation. It's not a massive number of kits out of production in this cycle. It's 18 characters and some shoulder pads. But they could be highly desirable models for some. Wouldn't surprise me if people are buying some to sell on eBay at inflated prices in a few months' time. But we don't know what the rotation means. How long does a cycle last? Like, let's say I'm planning on getting Grey Knights. I'm building them at the moment and I've got what I need now. But let us just say, I am planning on getting a Grey Knights army later on in the year. Not now. But I'd like to get Brother Captain Stern in amongst that. Do I need to get him now or do I wait? Now, let's say money's tight and I'm working on a Tyranids force for now. I'm not going to get around to the Grey Knights for about 6 months, I reckon. And even then, I wouldn't have to get Stern right away. It would take me some months to build that up. Will he be available, say, towards the end of the year? I don't know. This rotation could be a 6-month rotation. I've no idea. It doesn't say. It would be really useful to know how long this cycle lasts for. Then my second issue is the forewarning. Like, they say you're giving notice. They've given 2 weeks notice. That's not enough for someone on a tight budget. And especially someone who doesn't check out the Warhammer community news regularly. I don't see why they couldn't have planned this better and given a couple of months' notice to allow people to know about it, be able to set aside some budget to get the models that they expect to need in the foreseeable future. And this is all the more important when we do not know the length of the cycle. But then the third query. Are they managing their production strategy in the best way possible? Now, obviously, this is going to be pure speculation because I can't know the details of their production realities, or at least I don't know. I think I'm confident that my first 2 points are fairly valid. The next one, maybe, maybe not. But I go back now to when I first got into the hobby, nearly 30 years ago now. And at the time, it's very different. You could order a kit via a store or mail order. And it had code, in the back of the books, the codices and army books. You'd have for the codes for the components even. And it was sent in a packet. You even ordered individual components. But obviously that was back in the day. It was mainly metal models. Obviously not feasible with plastic screws. That's fine. Plastic is on balance better. But the idea of ordering a kit You know, wouldn't that make more sense now? Wouldn't that be more feasible? Like, you have a production line of the core kits, you know, you start collecting boxes, Combat Patrol, that sort of thing, whatever it's called. You've got those, you've got your main characters and your main units, the things that people are going to buy in large numbers. So you have a production line for those. But for everything else, let's say it's built to order. Don't bother with the boxes or the blister packs. Don't need that part of it. Not necessary. You make your order online. It's gone. Go over to the mould, form it. The relevant bits and pieces like bases, instructions and any transfer sheets are produced. Goes into a paper packet. And you do that with each kit that you order, all into a different paper packet. There's no need for any fancy box or anything like that. It just goes in there. Then you put it in your packing box as usual. And I'm not saying this must surely be better than the idea of rotating something out the range for an unspecified period of time. And so they should do it. But I do wonder, have they considered this? Because as the range continues to expand, but they maintain rules for older models, surely they need a more sustainable plan, like thinking long term. Because even if this is purely caused by pandemic absenteeism, which could still go on for some time, just even thinking long term, if you keep expanding your range, but you don't ever chop things from the rules, the existing models from the rules, this is going to keep happening. You know, rotating models out of the range is reducing your capacity to sell your own product. You know, and it seems to be one of these cases of Games Workshop. And I don't mean prioritising profits over customer satisfaction. You get a bit of stick about that, but that's how corporations work. At the end of the day, who appoints the people who make these decisions? The shareholders. The shareholders want their return. So I never really complain about what is clearly a business decision, because it's just business. But this seems to me a classic case of where Games Workshop may be pursuing a path that is bad for both the customer and their own bottom line. But anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And until next time, I'll see you later.